Hey ladies, how are you? Welcome back to the podcast. We Age Graceful. Y'all, today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. And I felt like I want to get this while it's still fresh. I'm still going through it. I recently started a business. Yes. So I wanted to talk about it because I know I'm not the only one who wants to start a business, who has started a business, whatever it may be, if it's a YouTube, if it's a blog, if it's a brick and mortar, or if it's providing services, if it's providing a product, if you're, opening a cleaning business, whatever it may be, HVAC, whatever. I just want to talk about it from a standpoint as being a woman over 40. So, why starting a business is a good thing in your 40s. Let's just talk about it. Well, before we do that, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? I felt like my last episode, I was kind of like direct to the point. I didn't kind of like, loosen up a little bit. I just was like, let's just get right into the topic. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes. But I do like to talk a little bit just so I can build that connection with you guys, because sometimes you have your listeners and then you have your viewers, because this podcast is definitely on YouTube. So if you would like to see the video version of it, you could check it out on YouTube. But I just feel like sometimes you just want to step back a little bit and just ask, how are you doing? How's it going? How's things? I know for me, things have been a little all over the place, but it's never going to stop, this show or nothing like that. But I want to just check in a little bit, just say hey, and, be a little, informal, if you will. But I want to talk about the benefits of starting a business as a woman over 40. There's a lot to cover. We have to talk about the benefits, the challenges, and all the things that happen when you're starting a business, at this time in life. People say get things going in your 20s so you can reap the benefits in your 40s, all the different things people say to do. But I personally feel that things happen the way they should happen. If you happen to start a business in your 20s, then hey, a lot of successful people who have started their business later in life, well, let me rephrase that. A lot of people that have successful businesses started later on in life. So sometimes you have to get through all the nicks and crannies and, just get through life. And then you sit and say, you know what, now it's my turn. And then you can either pass the business on, do whatever you choose to do, all the good things that come with it. But what are the benefits of starting a business after 40? Experience and wisdom. Sometimes, you're still going to learn lessons. You're still going to learn, and you're still going to make mistakes, and you're still going to sit back and go, oh, I wish I did something different. But when you're younger, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And when you're older, you may sit back and think a little bit. But that could be like a catch-22 too as well. It could be a catch-22 as well, because if you sit back and you're trying to make a decision and now you want to wait and let wisdom kick in, you might miss the spot. You might miss it. But to keep it kind of streamlined, I feel like for me, I have, worked as many years as I have worked. I have educated myself to get higher education, from me getting an undergrad to me getting a master's. And I feel like that experience alone, for me, I can't speak for no one else, for me, has helped me and guided me to say, Kelly, this is the time for you to start a business. This is the time for you to use those skills. Yes, I may have took a marketing class. I may have took an economics class. I may have took all these different classes. Finance, which is my actual background, which I do have a day job, and I am in finance. However, I feel like, I know marketing changes throughout the years, the different tactics, but I feel like the things that I have learned from back in the day still kind of works with business. Yes, we are in a digital world where we have social media. We didn't have that back in the day. Before, it was like people, I remember back in the day, people were selling those, was it Stanley steamers? Now they got Stanley cups. It's like, back in the day, people was going around with literally vacuums knocking on doors. Things are just different. But I feel like, having that wisdom, having that leadership, having that knowledge of where you are in life and what you have been through, how to communicate with people, how to dissolve conflict, how to work out collaborations, that you feel like as you get older, even if you don't know, you still know how to handle yourself a little bit different due to the maturity, if that makes any sense. So I feel like wisdom and experience definitely is some of the benefits of starting a business, after 40. Established networks. When you're younger, you may have your high school friends, you may have your college friends, which is a really good network. Don't get me wrong, because that's solid. But I feel like when you're a little bit more older, especially if you have a business where you're providing a service, a product, people may have a little bit more disposable funds to help, jumpstart and kick off that business. You have people that are well established. They may have well established friends, and you can work your network, they work their network, and then you have a bunch of well established people. Not discrediting anybody who may not be over 40 or anything like that, but you would hope that people's networks are a little bit more well seasoned, if you will. So there's a little bit benefits of having a business after 40, you know what I mean? And then you're financially stable. So you can kind of foot some of that in the beginning. You may not want to go and get that business loan. You may not want to go do certain things. You might want to just kind of like foot it yourself. I have definitely done that for my YouTube channel. I've definitely, put my money into it. If it was buying cameras, buying makeup, buying whatever it was to get my channel going and to get the content that I needed to get. Do what you have to do, but you also have to know the flip side of it. My background is finance, so I'm always thinking about money. And if you do that, always know how you can use it to benefit your business as a write-off in your company. So, always think about, if you are footing something, make sure it's somehow being tied into your taxes, if you will. Be smart about it. Don't do anything sneaky. Just be smart, okay? And also, you have a clear vision. You know what you want. Now, definitely you're going to, once you start something, you may say, oh, wow, I want to do something different. Prime example, me with this podcast. I had so many other things that I want to do. How am I going to get guests? How am I going to do all these different things? And I said, you know what, Kelly? Stop worrying about the guest and worry about how you're going to run this one-woman show until you get it to that point. You can still have decent conversation. You can still have captivating conversations with a person through the lens. It's okay, because someone will relate. And I had to sit back and think about it. When you start making so many different pots and holes and stuff, then you're trying to cater to too many people. You have your business, you know your target audience, you know who you want to talk to them and keep it there. Double down, go hard. And that's with anything. So, will you face any challenges? Absolutely. Oh my God. As we move into this world that we're in, we are in 2024. I sit back and think about when, you remember those computers, Gateway, back in the day when Gateway came out, and you had the Yahoo AOL, or was it, Yahoo? Yeah, Yahoo. See, I'm trying to figure it out now. And we had, what was it? Black Planet. I mean, we had so many different things going on back then in the internet, and we look at how it has evolved today. Crazy. You have things that are not even here no more. Example, like MySpace. I've never had a MySpace, so I don't even know what that era was about, but I hear it was a good era, but I missed out on it. But some challenge that you may have to deal with is like, technology, talking about where we are today. Things were a little bit more simpler back then. Even though we may have had computers, we were able to jot things down. We had our pen and paper. You may have been knocking on doors when you started your business. You want to do word of mouth. You had mailers, all the different things, the yellow pages. Oh my God, am I telling on myself? But now it's like we have a Google and we can do SEO. So technology has turned so different. It's like I don't even have to do all those things anymore. All I gotta do is find my audience on Google, figure out what they're searching for, and somehow tie my content into it so I can get them to say, hey, I want to hang out with Kelly. I want to buy her product. I want to get her service, and I want to be a part of her ecosystem. Yes, it may sound easier said than done, but it's hard. It is hard. It's hard. And then also, as you being over 40, work-life balance. I'm there. I am there because let me tell you, I have a full-time job. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I have friends. I have a social life. And it's like you still want to work on your dreams, your goals, and all these different things, because you want to get to one point when you realize, you know what, I don't want to work forever. And then what can I do to make that happen? And that's when I had to sit back and say, Kelly, what are you going to do to fix it? What are you going to do? And I said, you know what? I'm going to give myself 2 years. I can't put no time limit on it, but I'm going to give myself a time to where I got to work hard. So when the train start rolling, I'm in that ecosystem. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to put that upfront work to get the end benefit. If that makes any sense. Health and energy. As you get older, you hope that you're taking care of yourself. You hope that you're doing what you're supposed to do. Because as you get older, we try to repair ourselves from what we did in our 20s and whatnot. But you just feel like your health, you feel like you're mentally stable to where you can actually run a business. Some people may say, oh, I need to be young, I need to be vibrant, have all the energy, put the long hours in, no sleep, all that stuff, hustle mentality. But I feel like when you are over 40, you have that sense of, I don't know how to put it, that sense of confidence to where you could just do it. You can just do it. You may have that doubt, imposter syndrome, self-doubt, all the things, but you just feel like you can kind of like muster through and get through. And then when you finally get through, it's like, yes, I did it. I did it. And you try, and the next point is you try to be very smart about your financial risk. Even if, talking about funding your business up front with your own money, at this point in your life how to start small, scale it out. Some people may say go big or go home. But I personally feel like I'm getting stuck here. It's like, be smart. Be smart. Start small. See what it's like. Test the waters out. Is it a market for it? If it's a market for it, then go big. Then scale. Then you get locations. And then you do this. And then you do that. Make your presence known. Me, I must speak about me. Let me just get right into it now. The steps of actually starting a business after 40. Have your idea. So me, I have my idea. Well, I had the idea back then. And I said, God, what do I need to do to move this needle forward? I can't just keep sitting on this. I had bought my domain years ago, over 5 years ago. And my domain is old. And I said, Kelly, you have to really sit back and be smart about this. And one thing I think about, and I mentioned this in another video that I did, is never feel like what you're doing is oversaturated. Because at the end of the day, we have so many people in this world, billions of people in this world, and we all relate to people differently. We all, it could be 100 people doing the same thing. And I may gravitate towards 5 of those people because I like what they're doing. I like their message. And that's how you have to look at it. And also, another example I like to use, the bread aisle. There's so many different breads in the bread aisle. And even when it comes to deodorants, when it comes to lotions, body wash, soaps, there's so many different varieties of these brands, and they all thrive well. I sit back and look at how many bars of soaps by different brands that I have. I got Dove, I got Dow, you know what I mean? I may have something else in there, so Never sit back and think that something is saturated, because just because one person is doing it does not mean that you can't do it. And never feel like it's competition, because at the end of the day, there's always one person that will deal with 2 people or 3 people and 4 people. So there's room for everybody. And look at therapists. We have so many different therapists in the world. I have a therapist now, but I'm thinking about getting another one. My insurance company won't pay for it. I'm going to pay for that out of pocket. So I have to sit back and be wise about my next decision. So never feel like you can't do what you want to do. There's always room. So have your idea. Identify your business idea and what you want to do. Then come up with your business plan. That was something that I just did a month ago. A month ago, I just did my business plan. Didn't even realize how easy it was, but how detailed it was. And when you sit back and look at the details of your business plan, it just makes you open your eyes a little bit wider and say, you know what? I can do this. But always never bite off more than you can chew. Always sit back and say, I know where I am now in my life. I may have a lot of wisdom. I may have a lot of experience, but I always have to figure out where I am in life and what I can and cannot do. So I knew for my business, I wanted it to be online, because I know I can't open up a storefront. I can't be in nobody's store with a table doing X, Y, and Z, because where I'm at in my life right now, I don't have that much time. I don't that to give in a day. You know what I mean? Now later on, if things are looking a little bit more up and up, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can go to someone's fair, someone's conference, and then I can provide what I have going on. But for right now, we're going to start small, be realistic, and we're going to play the SEO game. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to play the other game. You know, right now, I'm not thinking about doing anything on YouTube, and I'm not thinking about doing anything in regards to social media. Now, I know we have AI that's really, really hard body in regards to like the Google atmosphere, but I really feel like sometimes certain things still work, and I'm willing to give it a shot. And I think so far I'm doing pretty good. There's other ways to, make it happen. And so far so good. So I can't complain. So next, after you have your business plan, now you want to build your support system. If you want to get a mentor, if you want to have a business advisor, if you want to have family, people that you can actually bounce ideas off of. Unfortunately, I don't have that, so I can't do that. But I do have one person that I could definitely bounce business ideas off of. Making sure that, when you in regards to like LLCs, S corps, and things like that, I definitely have someone that I can go that far with. When it comes to actually doing the idea of what I have going on, I don't. So figure out what works for you. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you're like me, where you just need somebody to help you in the other business aspects of it. Finance piece, I'm good because I know how to count. I'm good with numbers, but something that I still do need to outsource, because you want to make sure you're doing everything right and you're following the rules. What else? Now you got your idea, your business planning, and now we're trying to focus on your support system. We're gonna dive into marketing and branding. I kept it super simple. Super simple. My website is so simple. I just got a theme, and that was it. I got something very simple, neutral colors, and that is it. I didn't want to go nothing too bright, because at the end of the day, I don't want to like I'm gearing towards one person or I'm gearing towards another person. I wanted to keep it neutral. So I feel like marketing and branding can definitely be something you can wait on, but that's something that you definitely want to keep it in the forefront to make sure you don't forget about it. And understanding when to launch. I had a whole system of when I wanted to launch. And baby, let me tell you, it did not work that way. I wanted to launch on my birthday. It did not work that way. I wanted just hitting the button. And the website wasn't even finished all the way. I just said, bump it. Let's go. And I did it. And I just did it. And I just put it out there in the world. And did I get some buzz? I did. Because I made sure that the content that I had on my site was searchable in addition to what I had going on. So yeah, keep all that stuff in mind. If you want to have a big hoopty-da, do that as well. So to kind of wrap all this up, I really feel like starting a business in your 40s is a big deal. Because I feel like, sometimes we sell ourselves short, and we feel like, oh, in your 20s, your 30s, and, depending on where you're at in your 40s, you may have gotten married, you may have gotten divorced, you may be dating, you may have some children, you trying to get them through school, you got a full-time job, you may went back to school, got your college degree, you may be taking care of your parents, you may be taking care of family members. You got so much going on in your life. Trying to take care of yourself, you're probably trying to just get yourself in shape. Whatever the case may be, you have so much going on in life that sometimes we sit back and we forget about ourselves. And I'm not saying starting a business is like the way to say, oh, I'm going to care for myself. Because no, it can drain you. Speaking from experience. But what I'm saying is we all have dreams and goals that we want to do. Even if it is starting a business, getting in shape, buying a home, getting a dream car, finding the love of your life, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, we all have them. So don't sit back and feel like once you get to your 40s, it's like, oh, well, I didn't do it in my 20s. It's a wrap for me. I don't try to do it in my 30s, so it's a wrap for me. It's never a wrap. It's never a wrap. I want you to tighten up, get it together, shake it off, and get in that bag and do what you got to do because it's worth it. So we went over the benefits of starting a business. We went over challenges and solutions in addition to the steps of actually starting a business. It seems like it's a lot, but really not a lot. It's about how much time you have to put into it. And I know there's some women out there that want to, but they just want to have a little blueprint. And I'm here to give you a mini one because this is not the hardcore body one. But you got to do your research. You got to put yourself out there and don't never give up on yourself. Don't never give up on yourself and always, always know that you deserve. You deserve. You deserve it. You deserve it. If you're good at something, show it to the world. I just recently did a YouTube video on my main channel where I was talking about, why women over 40 should have a YouTube channel and how YouTube changed my life. You're never going to know what you're capable of if you don't do anything. You're never going to know. So you have to do something. You have to put your best foot forward and you have to bet on yourself. So here I am telling you from your good sis Kelly, put yourself out there. And don't care what nobody say, think, or whatever, because what they're going to do, try to bring you back to where they remember you. And not realize you are in a whole new space. A whole new space. So just go ahead, rock out, do you. I hope my little TED Talk motivational speech gave you all the things. But I also want to share with you, if you want to keep up with what's going on here on the podcast, we do have a Instagram with a Facebook page, and we have the podcast of course, and we do have a website, and it's all under We Age Graceful. Ladies, join the movement, hang out with your girl, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you.